I know this show is supposed to happen on a Wednesday, but I got drunk and couldn't make the gig. So I packed up my headphones and I headed out the door. And here we are today. Time to get this show started. The whiskey's pouring, grab yourself a beer. Everything's ready, the director is here. Time to get loose, join the entourage. Let's all get drunk at the director's garage. Let's get drunk at the director's garage. Let's get drunk at the director's garage. It don't matter wherever you are. I'll get drunk at the director's garage.
God, that is just too much, fellas. That is just too much. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to a lovely Friday afternoon happy hour hangout here at the director's garage. I love that thing. That is just so much fun. That is so much fun. How y'all doing? We made it to Friday. That's a good thing. Just getting rolling. Couple things for me. I've been shooting all week. This is the ZMF Caldera. I just haven't changed headphones lately, so that's why everything's like, we got the Caldera. It's been here. It's been sitting on my desk for weeks now because I just haven't had a reason to change. So there you go. The Caldera's here, and so have I. I was shooting all week. I shot 2 episodes this week, so I'm in post now on one of them. The other one, I got to shoot some stuff. I got to get the gear back out because it was sent to me to review, and I don't want to hold it too long. I want to get it back to people and kind of impress them that I can turn something around quickly. And then, so I've got 3 episodes like set and ready to go. And one of them, I'm just waiting. I've got to do the review, but I did a What's in the Box that's going to be out next week. We're getting back into production. You're going to get some shows out of me for once instead of all live streams all the time. I'm excited about it because I've got some great gear sent to me. So we've got some great stuff to check out. And Patreon folks know what's up for part of it because I showed that off on the live stream last week. Last week we had a great live stream. Kai Moulton from Noble Audio just dropped in and told us all about the new Kronos IEM from Noble. Fantastic headphone. It says it's a mix between the Sultan, which is my all-time favorite Noble, the Noble Audio Sultan. It's just a bass cannon, tons of fun, great headphone. Probably the one headphone that if I wish I hadn't sold. That I wish I'd figured out a way to sell a kidney, something to hang on to it because it was so good. But the Kronos, he says, is a mix between the Sultan and the Viking Ragnar, which is their hyper detailed, top of the line, crazy ass IEM. And so I'm like, that's a pretty good combination. If you're bringing that level of detail along with that tuning that was so awesome on the Sultan, I'm like, that's something. So Kai stopped in last weekend. Just popped in. I had mentioned to him that we're doing a live stream, and he's like, let me see, maybe I can drop in. I'm like, well, you've had some stuff to talk about. So he came in and talked about a lot of different things. We talked a lot about the markets, the Asian market compared to the U.S. market, and what Noble's got going on. It was really just an interesting 2.5 hour discussion, really, I think it was, where we just exchanged ideas and stuff. And Kai dropped out at one point. We had Ryan Dietz in the house for a bit there, and all the regulars. It was really a good live stream session. That was last Saturday. Next one will be in September. We'll have a September live stream at the Patreon Hangout, it's called. So stop by if you want. It's $3, but it was a great time last weekend. So yeah, my next episode is about 2/3 cut. I just started doing visuals today and running into a brick wall after a brick wall because the software I normally use to do effects keeps crashing. I can't figure out why. I've reinstalled everything. I'm updating everything. I'm checking drivers. I'm like, I don't know. Something just isn't quite clicking between my computer and the software. Some kind of memory thing. In the headphone world, I just saw out of the corner of my eye here, JTB. Yeah, the Orig 3.0 went on sale today for a discount price at ZMF. And also there's a HiFiman ongoing sale right now. It keeps dropping into my Facebook feed for some reason that HiFiman's got some sale. They don't send me an email to directorsgarage.com, which would actually get them information on the thing. It's just amazing to me that they, like, HiFiman, send me an email. Don't bombard my Facebook feed. Like, you'll get a lot more play if you send me an email or something, or a text. So good. But let's see what else is going on. Oh, I've got a merch thing I'm going to show off. This is going to be, let's see, where's this? This is going to be CanJam related. This will be CanJam related stuff. It's going to be, I ordered, I think, if it's what I think it is. These are these. I bought 2 shirts, one for each day, because it's going to be, smelly for me after a full day in it at CanJam. I bought shirts for me to wear at CanJam that can help guide people to the website, and because I'm going to be there kind of hawking some of the Director's Garage merch, which, as you know, is at directorsgarage.com, in case you were wondering where it might be. Yeah, that's at directorsgarage.com. So good way for you to get your, now it fades out. Thank you. Good way for you to get your merch on. Just head over to directorsgarage.com and you can check out shirts like these and all kinds of shit. The sweet sound of nectar. Well, let's open this thing up, and then in the meantime, we'll put your comments in the chat, and we'll go through stuff in a second. But I'll just go through and show off. I'm a little bit tired today, guys, because I have been editing late into the night, and I'm trying to solve this damn problem. It's a fire effect, and I'm trying to get a fire effect to happen, and the software that generates outstanding fireballs just keeps crashing every time I tell it to do something. So I've got to figure out another solution. I don't know what it is. Or figure out why it keeps crashing. But that can take days. Sometimes it's easier to just find a different angle at it, find a different way to do it. Anyway, let's check out this. I don't know what it is. Well, I kind of know what it is. But I think this is the merch I'm going to be wearing at the Director's Garage. At the CanJam SoCal. If I understand it right. Or not. Maybe this is something. Oh, this is... Boys. Where is it? This is treasure. I didn't realize. This is not what this is a full-blown hoodie. I have not seen the hoodie yet. Check this out. Beautiful stitched logo hoodie. Look at that shit. Zipper. Oh, because I wanted to get some samples of some of this stuff so that when I'm at the show, people can see what it looks like. So I ordered a hoodie so that I could have a hoodie to show off. Oh, and on the sleeve, check out the sleeve. And this is stitched, all stitched, embroidered. Music is life. How cool is that? How freaking cool is that? Let's go back to the main camera. Oh, this is way better than a stupid couple of t-shirts. There you go. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Nice big hood. Is there anything on the back? Did I do anything on the back? I don't think I did. No, because I wouldn't let you on the template. But we got a little sleeve stitchery going on. Very cool. Very cool. Love that. Nice hoodie. Nice black hoodie. Headphone logo-ish. There you go. Got to see something cool today. I didn't even know it was there. I thought it was going to be t-shirts because I ordered a pair of t-shirts with it's a sweatshirt material, fellas. It's thick. It's a nice thick sweatshirt material for when it gets cooler out. So it's soft, really soft inside. Can I show this on the? It's just a soft, sweatshirt kind of material. And it's double stitched. Look at the stitching on that. I mean, I love that because that means it's going to last a while. It's a nice zipper. Very cool. Very cool. Good quality. Like this one. This is going to be nice. This will be nice in the fall. This is going to be... Oh, you're not seeing shit because I'm... This will be nice in Tennessee when I get to... Oh. Hey, don't do that. Just disturb you. Send you guys into... outer space. This will be great in Tennessee. It's so hot in here. There's no way I'm going to put this on. But I'll just be sweating instantly. But this is beautiful. It's got pockets. Very cool. Just a nice hoodie. All right. We're on our way. Got more stuff. That's awesome. That's awesome. Man, I love it when I get surprised by my own orders. Cheers, everyone. Did you hear the new theme at the top? Did you guys pick that up? It was a totally new theme. I had some downtime. Well, I didn't have some downtime. I had some credits I needed to burn up because I was going to lose. I had to shift some of my monthly expenditures around a little bit. I try not to go crazy on subscriptions, so I have what I need, and then I move stuff in and out of different things. So I needed to burn up some credits for making some music stuff. So I decided I wanted a theme for the show in the event that the show doesn't start on a Wednesday, because typically it's a Wednesday airing for the live stream, but then days like today I had to go on Friday because of other obligations on Wednesday. So I wanted a theme it starts out with like this guy just saying, I know we're supposed to be starting on Wednesday, but I got drunk and I couldn't make the gig. So I packed up my headphones and I headed to today, and here we are. This is so ridiculous. It's so fun. I just love doing that shit, man. It's so fun. Oh, I can turn this light off. Oh, it's a good time. But I am excited about this the upcoming episodes. It's nice to get back into some regular shows. I've got 3 in a row planned. I've got 3, like, bam, bam, bam. I don't know if I'll get them out on a weekly basis, but it's going to be probably like one every other week for the short term. And because I got product I need to return to people. So it's pretty cool. I've got two episodes shot, and one of them is 2/3 of the way cut. And like I said, I'm just doing the effects on it, but I've got to figure out how to solve some problems. It's stuff I get in my head. I get an idea of how I want it to go and how I want it to look, and then I'm like, okay, I'll do it by doing it this way. So I have this software that like is a particle piece. It's a software that generates particles, and I'm like, I can create fire with it. So I'm like, oh great, I'll just do this fire, but then it keeps crashing, and I'm like, shit. Like, how am I going to get around this? I got to figure out a way around it, because sitting there trying to solve a software problem is like, I mean, you'll spend days on it, and I'm like, I don't have days. I want to get the piece done. All right, let's get back into the chat here for a little bit. I don't have a lot to talk about today. It's just kind of like, hey, check out what's going on. If you guys have anything you want to talk about, please let me know. Kind of watching the Oasis stuff come in from Chicago. They kind of got the message. They like huge crowd there and all jumping around like crazy maniacs. I love that. and like trying to think, did I do much listening this week? Not really. I did some listening because I was doing some review stuff. I don't want to give that away. I can tell you about it. Got to show it to you. ZMF Ori 3.0 went on sale today. Yes, we talked about that with the early bird discount from Zach. Super excited for him. Anytime he releases something, it's going to make some waves. It's awesome. Ace of Spades just got a Tesla. Holy cow, the interior is silent. Having a low noise floor really helps with the car audio quality. Has a low floor too, I think, in those Teslas. They sit low to the ground, don't they? But and do they put good speakers in the Teslas? Do they? I have Audi. I have an Audi, and my Audi, the last one had Bowers and Wilkins stereo system. That was their premium, and they changed in this version of the car, the version that I just bought. Their premium became Bang & Olufsen. And the Bang & Olufsen stuff doesn't hold a candle to the Bowers and Wilkins system that was in my original Q5. I was like, it was such a disappointment. I'm like, oh, this sucks comparatively. My old system, my old stereo in my Audi Q5 was like, it was bonkers. It was really good. But, that's what you get. The one thing that is nice, though, is that the music player takes FLAC files. So I have a little... it's like one of those SanDiscs, and they look, I don't know, they're super thin. They're about the size of like this, and it's got a USB. Oh no, here it is. Here's one. This isn't the one, but this is one of them. These SanDiscs, these little drives. Show it overhead because I can. Yeah, it's USB C, and then it goes into the car. And it will read, I have one loaded up with FLAC files. So I have like all these FLAC files. Isn't that cool? Nice little device. And they're cheap. They're not expensive. So I'm like, yeah, it's a good deal. These are nice. 4 terabytes. 4 terabytes holds a shit ton of music. I mean, even if you're looking at FLAC, it's like still, it's a lot of music. More than enough than you'll need for a trip somewhere. To the gas station and pay $17 a gallon for gas. So the president was like $2.99 a gallon. I'm like, where? Please give me directions to that gas station because it is $5.50 on the corner. I trust you're not lying to me. Just tell me where to go. I am more than happy to go drive for $2 gas. Of course, Ace of Spades is like, I just plug mine in. Show off. HiFiman just released like 4 new versions of their headphones. Yeah, a lot of unveiled stuff going on in the HiFiman world. They're trying to unveil the world. Ace is saving the planet. I know, isn't he? What a guy. Director's guy, sure, we're looking good in a new Tesla. He can't afford it after buying that Tesla. He's not going to be able to afford a t-shirt from the collection. Jesus. Give the guy a break. He's saving the planet. Nephilim in the house, my brother from another mother. Friday, yes, long weekend Labor Day. So, what is everyone spinning this weekend? Cheers, gents. Glad to have made it in. What have I been listening to? Where's my rune? Tidal, I'm a Tidal guy, and I know that I'm in the minority on that. I know a lot of people are anti-Tidal or whatever for whatever reason. For me, the best algorithm, the best, like you give it you tell, we're talking streaming services. Let's back up. I got 10 things tried to come out of my mouth at once. Let's slow down. I'm a big fan of streaming services. I like the convenience, especially when I'm working around the house or going out on a walk or a run or whatever. And it's so I'm in. So I'm streaming this stuff. My favorite one is. I'm gonna look it up because I'm forgetting. I talked ahead of my skis. I got way ahead of myself. So my favorite one, I'll never forget it. It's Pandora. Pandora has terrible sound quality. Okay, sound quality on Pandora I don't like at all. But they have the best algorithm. Like if you give it a seed band, and one of my favorite seed bands is always The Clash, because it pulls into an era, it pulls in punk, it pulls in new wave, and it's at like late 70s, early 80s. It even pulls in a little bit of disco here and there and some ska and reggae. It's a phenomenal seed band for a channel. But Pandora doesn't sound very good. So I moved to Tidal, which has better. And I know everybody's like Qobuz. I'm like, I just Tidal for me, okay? Tidal's fine. And they dropped their price, which makes me even happier. And they also do MQA, and I have gear here that decodes MQA. So as long as it's, oh, there's a power outage at Disney World right now. Or at Disneyland? No, Disney World, Florida, Orlando. You guys are over 40 Disney World rides are shut down. Had some power surge. Oh. Hours before a coveted, what's the saying? Hours. It was heavy rain and lightning. It knocked out some transformers or something. So sad. If you're at Disney World, you should be tuning into the Director's Garage live as a way to fill the void. So anyway, Tidal has this thing called MyMix. So I listen to a lot of the MyMix, but the problem is that they get off they get off subject too much. They drift too far from the central theme. So if you tell it The Clash, it's like they'll get a little too modern on you, and they'll start including, some bands that, like the Hives or Fun, or some of these other like newer bands, and I'm like, they don't have much to do with The Clash. Let's be honest. But I do like that because, like, I do like the Hives, and it's kind of fun, and I'll listen to them. But it's just a different thing. It's like it's not quite following the theme that I would look for in. I want Pandora to like up their sound quality, so I can go back to Pandora. And then they're free because you just have to listen to the commercials every now and then. And I'm like, I can listen to somebody try and sell me siding for 30 seconds or the stupid Cars for Kids song. And you're welcome, because that's going to now ring in your head for the rest of the night. You can forget about getting like, Eric Clapton vibes in your head. You're going to hear the Cars for Kids logo, and then you're going to hear an interpretation of Eric Clapton playing the Cars for Kids song. You people overseas have no idea what I'm talking about, but in the States, it's a thing. Trust me. It's like the worst commercial jingle ever written, ever scored. And it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. You'll never get it out of your head. You'll never get it out of your head. I will die like hearing that in place of my tinnitus someday. And I won't sing it to you because you'll hate me. But Google Cars for Kids jingle. It's unbelievable. Oh, guys. All right, so let's get back to the thing. So what am I listening to? So I listened to, Neff, what I was getting to was I listened to these MyMixes on Tidal. And that's really, and maybe I can call something up, without playing anything, but like I've got one that's like MyMix that leads with the Violent Femmes. That's awesome. That's an awesome way to go. And then it goes into like REM, but Finest Work Song. It's like, why would they put Finest Work Song on that list? Like there's so many better REM songs that better fit Violent Femmes music. The Killing Moon from Echo and the Bunnymen, that's good. Television Drug of a Nation by the Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. That's a great song. It's kind of hip-hop, so it's a little off the beaten path from the angst of the Violent Femmes' first album, because that first album is phenomenal. It's like one of the best ever. And then Oasis, and I'm like, Britpop in the middle of that list? Doesn't make sense. Talking Heads, they roll. That's a good match. Stone Roses, adjacent. Okay, I'll allow it. But, you know, Blur, no, you're back into Britpop. Pixies, great idea. They dropped a Pixies song in the middle of that list. So that to me is like what I love doing. I like hearing that stuff because it kind of gets you in a mood. And then every now and then you get a good surprise. Like there's a good surprise track in there and you're like, wow, I haven't heard this in ages. Or, God, who makes this? I heard this once, maybe 1,000 years ago, and then I haven't heard it again. So like, I love that stuff. That's fun. So I always look for that. That's what I'm going to be doing this weekend, is probably listening to more of those. And then they've got like a list of like new arrivals that they think I'd like, but it's always like too hip-hop-y or something. Yeah, but the Clash, I've got the Hives, Electric Six. These are, you know, like it's too current. But then it jumps back to Iggy Pop for Passenger. Just reading off this list, that's what I was listening to when I was on my walk yesterday. The Undertones, okay. Clash, good. White Stripes, yeah, that was a nice tangent. But then it goes to the Sex Pistols, phenomenal. Back to Iggy Pop, Ramones, Blitzkrieg Bop, great. Dead Kennedys, Too Drunk to F, that's a classic. Buzzcocks, right in the lane. Blur, moving out. So it's like, I like these things. It's like they just kind of, but they go a little too all over the place sometimes. Whereas what I love about Pandora is Pandora just stays like right in the lane. Like they're right in the pocket. Their algorithm is phenomenal. So I'm a big fan of Pandora. It's just you got to deal with the music and the crappy sound quality. Which I sometimes do. But a lot of times I'm working around the yard and I don't even have earphones in. I'm just using the phone speaker because I'm like, I just want something in the background so that I'm not sitting out, you know, sweating and, you know, as I'm raking leaves or whatever. Not that I rake a lot of leaves, but I will in Tennessee though. Hey now, Neff, what material is that? Yeah, that was, oh, you're talking about the shirt. This is the heavier sweatshirt, heavy gauge sweatshirt hoodie. Really nice. Great for the fall. Super excited. Going to get to wear that. But I'm going to bring that to Can Jam, SoCal. Because I'm going to have a little place there. Work details to come, but I will be at Can Jam. It's certainly looking that way. Doesn't look like we're going to be selling the house before then, for sure. Friday long weekend limited, we did that. Ryan Dietz in the house. Cheers, my brother. Glad you can make it. Ryan is going to be hard at work getting out his. He's going to work all weekend getting out tungstens. He's got tons of tungstens to deliver. A Space says spinning the new Black Keys album today and planning some yacht rock tomorrow on the boat. I want a boat. It's Ace of Spades. That's one of the things I'm like. I want to go to Tennessee. I want to get a house on Chickamauga Lake somewhere, and then have like a boat. I want like a Chris Craft wooden boat that I can just drive around the lake. Just have fun in. Just something to chill in. Maybe a 4-seater Chris Craft, you know, like something that's just fun. Some little boat from the 60s or something, you know, that's rehabbed. It's got, you know, got a nice polish on it. Or I'll do the polish. I'll do the refinish myself. I don't care. Whatever. Tennessee, $2.78 a gallon for gas. Yeah, well, I mean, that's better. That's better than my $5.50 on the corner. Upset. JTB should have gone to Wally World with Clark Griswold instead of for the people who went to Disney World and found themselves without a ride. And Florida's a rough place, man, to go in the summertime. Whew, so hot. A lot of bugs. A lot of bugs. Nephilim, haha. Ace Spades, he's a Spotify simp. There's nothing wrong with Spotify. And the only reason I haven't played with Spotify at all is that I played with Pandora first, and I'm like, I like this. When you feed it something, I mean, it just gives you a great. One of my favorites was Louis Armstrong. I fed Louis Armstrong into Pandora. Wait till you see what it comes up with when you feed it Louis Armstrong. You have the best, like, 2 hours of listening ahead of you in your life. It's just fantastic. God, I love that. Such good stuff. And it's so old, you don't care about the sound quality then. Because it's like, it's from the 20s, recorded in the 20s. It's going to sound like butt, no matter what it is, no matter how you listen to it. So, you know, on a small little speaker coming out of an iPhone, it's great. How do you know that it's freaking 78 RPM quality Victrola sound, you know? Gene Fruit, given... I think isn't it 1877 Cars for Kids? KARS Cars for Kids? 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. Oh, you guys are going to hate me. If you know the song, you will hate me now. Bum, bum, bum. Nephilim, my friends, I can't live out without micro SD cards. They are invaluable. I know, you know, I just bought a case so I could haul them because, you know, I have all these step-ups cards. I swear they're everywhere because I can't find one. No, it's not one here. I've had them in front of me for days because I keep doing some of this, I keep doing the real estate stuff, and I'm flying my drone, and the drone takes a micro SD, so I have to have the converter card. You know what it is. Like it's like a normal SD card, but it's got a slot in it, so you can put the micro in there. And then all of my players, all of my music players take micro SD. The KNN8, which I need to totally reflash and rebuild. I need to do the software on that. And then the SP1000, which is great, still working great. That takes a micro SD. Don't love the way that Astell&Kern does their like loading onto their devices. Like you plug it in and you have to launch this Android assistant thing, and I'm like, can't they figure out a way? Because most of us are on, I don't say most of us, I should say, because most of the world isn't on Mac, but I'm on Mac, and it's like, they can't the Mac can't interpret the Android OS whatever file system, so you have to run this emulator, and it's like just a pain in the ass. And then it like you start transferring something in, and then it like crashes. It's just a mess. But yes, micro SD cards are invaluable. I will agree with you, sir. But I just bought like because I've been dealing with so many of them, I bought this little case. I just hope I haven't lost the case because it would defeat the purpose. But it's got slots in it for micro SD cards, so you don't lose them. Pardon me, burping. After this, I have to go pick up Mrs. Director from work because she's working. I'm not. I tried to work. I went to an open house today just to deliver my card. Listen, I got cameras everywhere. I've been shooting so much, fellas. I've been shooting so much. Camera. 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 It's crazy. I use this one for video because if you look at we can do it on the overhead. This was the casualty from my last Can Jam. Look at this. Look at this is the this is supposed to not look like this. This is crushed. This got what happened was no, actually it wasn't Can Jam. This was, I take that back. I broke the lens at Can Jam. I broke the camera, the eyepiece. It doesn't work at all. It's absolutely completely non-functional. Yeah, you can't, it won't focus. You can't see, it won't show anything in focus. But I was shooting some headshots in my garage, and I had set up the light, and I turned around to set the light up, and something grabbed the camera, and it just fell onto the concrete floor, and when it smashed, it broke this entire cover off. and smashed down the magnesium plate. And I looked at the body and I'm like, and it's cracked like up here. This is a crack. This is a $3,000 camera. I mean, you know, it's like, it's not like bullshit, but it does still work for video. The video on the camera works great. So I can still, well, let's see if I can shoot it. It works great. It works in high frame rates. It works in low frame rates. Color balance, everything on it is fine. So as long as I use live view, as long as I'm using the screen and I'm not trying to look through the viewfinder, the camera works. So that's what I shoot B-roll with it because it's like, oh, it still works. It's just you can't look through the thing, and it's terrible if you have a client. This is not the camera you want to pull out if you have a client situation, right? The client wants to see like all the latest best gear and all that, and this is an old camera. But I did buy a backup, another one of these. I found them new. They're still selling this camera new, even though it's like 8 years old, I think, 7 years old. This is still for sale by Nikon. So I was able to replace it with and they came down in price. They're now about $2,000 for this camera, where there's like $4,000 when it came out new. And I still have all the accessories. I have the bottom shoe plate for this. And I know the camera. That's the other thing. It's like, I hate jumping cameras because I know how to do a bracketed flash in a hurry on this. I know how to change the ISO in a hurry. I know how to set the levels. I know how to do a self-portrait. I know how to do, I know how the camera works, and I know the menus inside and out. So I hate changing camera bodies because it's like you got to learn a whole new process. I know how this camera reacts to light. I know that if I put a little negative exposure bias on it, it gives the picture a little more room, and when you take it into post, like all that stuff. Anyway, camera talk. Donate your cars today. My friends, I can't live without micro SD cards. We covered that. Nice list, Michael. Appreciate people's lists. Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I wish that's one of the things that I love about the weekend show, the Hangover show, is that everybody comes with recommendations. I make that's a top priority. Every single Hangover Hangout we do, people come with album recommendations, and they know they're going to get quizzed. They know I'm going to hit them up for it. And sometimes it's like something mainstream, and I'm like, just check this out. It's probably, if it's been 15 years since you heard, I think last time I recommended Led Zeppelin was my album recommendation. And I said, go listen to How the West Was Won. Because everybody raves, if they talk about like the best live album of all time, and they always bring up, and Led Zeppelin shouldn't even be on this list, by the way, of best live records of all time. But song remains the same. Everybody says song remains the same, and I'm like, you realize first of all, it was not a good performance. They took it from 3 nights in Madison Square Garden. They combined the recordings to get what became that soundtrack, that album. 3 terrible nights performances. They weren't playing particularly well for various reasons. Secondly, this is after Plant had had his vocal surgery, so his voice is nowhere near like Zeppelin 4 era, Zeppelin 2 era, where he could hit all those high notes and do all that wailing. He had to change his singing style from Physical Graffiti onward because he blew his voice out on the 73 tour. It destroyed his vocal cords. So he had to have vocal surgery, and it changed. His voice has never been the same since. He lost all of his high end. So so my recommendation was, don't listen to Song Remains the Same. Listen to How the West Was Won, which was that 73 tour when his voice was in absolute top quality. But if you're asking for the best live albums of all time, that there isn't a Zeppelin album on that list. That wouldn't even come close. My short list would be, although it's a thin sounding record, for pure excitement, Cheap Trick of Budokan, Ted Nugent, Double Live Gonzo, Leonard Skinner, One More from the Road, Bob Seger, Live Bullet. 9 Tonight's also a very good record. Peter Frampton, Frampton Comes Alive. That's a pretty good one. And maybe Wheels of Fire from Cream, although the recording isn't that good. It's a little vague. But like those would be those would be some live records to check out. UFO, they had a great live record. Strangers in the Night, I think it was called. Was that it? Can't remember the UFO live. They had a phenomenal one. There's some great stuff. Genesis 3 Sides Live, that would be a good one. But yeah, it's that one. Anyway, I gave you a whole list of stuff and you didn't even ask for it. Let's get back to. But hey, we've got some people in the room this afternoon. Isn't that fun? Live at Leeds, that's a good one. Kiss Alive, JTB for the win. That's a great one. I wanted to wish everyone who is going to Can Jam SoCal have a great time and hope you can prioritize listening experiences well. I know it's hard. Well, and I'm going to be in a room, so I'm like, I don't know how much shooting I'm going to get to do, if I'll get to do my normal like roundup, because I'm going to be kind of focused on getting this, like manning a table. And I know like Neil Snyder offered to come in and like relieve me a little bit, but not relieve himself, but relieve me. Neil has that problem sometimes. Sorry, Neil. Brody says, am I early enough for a live? Yeah, sure, why not? We talked to Brody, give us a live album if you're here. Nephilim says, anyone seen Akira? It's a 1987 Japanese anime movie. No, if you're going to talk anime Japanese to me, it's going to be Speed Racer, and that's beginning and end of story. That's all you need to know about anime. The music score is bonkers, really unique. It will go down as music rec for a long weekend. All right, well maybe I'll check out that music. But if you're going to talk anime, it's got to be frickin'. It's got to be a Speed Racer, like the greatest anime series in television history. By far. I'll die on that hill. Brody says, I'll give a listen when I write tonight. I don't listen to enough Zeppelin. Yeah, you need to listen to Zeppelin. Zeppelin will show you the way. It shows you what rock was supposed to be until everybody died. Gotta listen to that. Yeah, but listen to How the West Was Won. Don't listen to Song Remains the Same, or even like you can listen to Celebration Day, but it was recorded in 2008. They don't have the right drummer. They're using Jason Bonham, who is John Bonham's, the original drummer's son. And Robert, they do tricks to cover for Robert's lack of vocal performance. They change keys, they come down. That's one of the things. I was watching live from Red Sox from Boston's Fenway Park, The Who. They had Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend, what's left of The Who, are touring, and there's been a lot of controversy on that tour because Zach Starkey's Ringo's Boy was supposed to play their drums for them, but to his credit, Daltrey is singing in the original keys every song. At 78 years old? Townsend can't do a windmill though. He does it, but he shanks the back end. He used to do like the whole. My arm doesn't do this because of my torn rotator cuff, but he would do on the guitar, right, and really wing it. On the back end, he just does this little side hustle thing, and then he follows through with the big windmill on the front end. But they sound pretty good. And Daltrey, when you listen to what like McCartney now, or you listen to Jagger now, who can get by, but he doesn't have the voice he had. Oh my God, guys, have you been following the David Lee Roth tour. If you haven't, I'm not saying he was the greatest singer ever, but he could hold key back in the 80s. He could keep on in tune for the most part. Like if you listen to Van Halen, if you go call up like the US Festival, because I was watching that the other day, he's entertaining and he's singing the songs. He can't sing the songs. I mean, he just can't sing. And I love the guy. I think he's a great showman. He's one of the great showmen in, history, and he led the way for the Headbangers Ball. He and Eddie were, they were really the blueprint for Headbangers Ball and all that fun that happened in the 80s with the hair metal bands. They all came out of Van Halen. I mean, they were all trying to be Eddie. But holy God, David's voice is... I was in trouble when they did that live set at the Kimmel before Eddie passed away in 2014, I think it was 2015. They did a live set on Hollywood Boulevard for Jimmy Kimmel, and there was some drama there. Like they messed something up and they had to start again. It was just a disastrous gig, but his voice was in trouble then. It's scary bad now. And I feel so bad. And I, in some ways, I'm like, there's a part of him that is like the showman on a cruise line, right? He's not, I think he knows he's not as good as he once was, but he's trying to get by on vibes. He sells himself to the crowd and tries to get the crowd to sing along to cover like what he can't do. The shame of it is he's got a hell of a guitarist doing Eddie's parts. Like the guy's pretty good. Like the guitarist he's got right now is really good, and he's pulling off the Eddie parts with like probably saving the damn concert for people who go. But I guess he's just kind of like, what am I going to do? All I know how to do is sing, and I can't really use my instrument. It's not working anymore. And he's had vocal coaches his whole life. I know that. I've seen interviews with him even from 10 years ago, where he's talking about all the different vocal coaches he's had. I mean, he's got a fundamental problem. His voice is just wavering. It's not holding key right now. And he can't, his trademark scream, which was like an inhale, that he would do. He is incapable of doing that. And it's such a tragedy to hear, because he was such a great entertainer. I mean, even like his solo stuff after he left Van Halen was pretty fun. It's not my favorite stuff. Like I was more of a Van Hagar. I followed the Van Halen side of it when Sammy went with him. I was more team Eddie and Sammy than I was team David, because David had the big personality, and I was kind of like, eh. But I didn't deny, like, first of all, he got a hell of a guitarist to come along with him to launch that solo career in Steve Vai. Phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal guitar player. Really, he did well there, and Vai really helped along those first couple records. Skyscraper, and what was the other one? Eat 'Em and Smile. And then Van Halen came out after they did Eat 'Em. After he came out with Eat 'Em and Smile, Van Halen came out with OU812 as kind of like to David. So mean, so childish. I think, but David, those albums were fun. I enjoyed, Living in Paradise or whatever. There's still a little synthy. Like, that's sort of the problem. Like, metal, when you listen to those first, up until the album 1984, even including 1984 to some degree, like, synthesizers weren't the thing. there were still fundamentally guitar-based bands. And like if you listen to 77 Van Halen, the first Van Halen album, and you listen to the second one, it's like they're all on Assault guitar albums. Like nobody had ever heard guitar playing like Eddie played. And nobody had ever done that. So it was really like, oh my God, this is, the Jimi Hendrix of the next Jimi Hendrix, and he was at the time, I think. He was that guitar great that came out of, well, a little older than me, but my generation basically. Because, you had the greats from the previous generation. You had Hendrix and you had Clapton and you had Page and Beck and all those guys. Mick Taylor and Brian Jones, and anyway, not Brian Jones, but Keith Richards. Great, great guitarists, but he was the first one from what I felt was like my generation that came along, even though he was a couple years older than me, probably 10 years older than me. Pardon me, fellas, but it's such a shame to hear David today. Anyway, Alan Parsons live span, wow. Alan Parsons can do it. Talk about, speaking of Beatles-related people, Alan recorded the Beatles with Jeff Emmerich. JTB says, yeah, David Lee Roth needs to retire. Brutal now. I know. Oh, man. It's hard, but it's, but I want to give the guy, what else is he going to do? This is all he's done his entire life is sing, and he can't do what he's incapable of doing what he was what he did, But it's hard to watch because it's like the songs are gone. The songs are just gone. It's like, oh, that's so painful. Anyway. Sammy is Pavarotti compared to David Lee Roth right now. There's a spicy take. Yeah, I mean, Sammy's voice is in great shape. First of all, Sammy took care of his voice. And he was never the crazy-ass partier. And if you listen to... watch any of his... Sammy is smart. Like, if you watch any of his interviews, I mean, he goes out and has a good time on tour or whatever, but he's never been like a crazy-ass smoker, drinker, drug taker, any of that stuff. He never fell into it. It was a business to him, and he knew how to run the business. Whereas some of these guys, the Van Halen guys, like they were all alcoholics and drug addicts and stuff. It's like, oh shit, they all admit it. But goodness me, just listen. You look at, but Sammy stayed sober. Like he was, and he's got his own tequila line, and he opens bars and stuff. But he's not a I don't know if he's a teetotaler or not, but I know he's not into it. Like he's very family focused and very family first, and loves to just show people a good time, and loves his cars, and he's got his different Ferraris and stuff. But go watch, like if you can, there's some YouTube videos of interviews with Sammy, like talking about his businesses and stuff, and it's like he's got a little empire. He's and he can still sing. He still does. What is it? Something Chicken he plays. He plays in. What's Sammy Hagar's band? Sammy Hagar's band. Chickenfoot. Chickenfoot is the name of his band now. He still plays all the classics. Still plays his Van Halen stuff, and still plays. That was one of the best things. I saw Van Halen when they went on tour, with Sammy for the first time. It was on the 5150 tour. Like it been 86, 87 maybe. And they played at Southern Illinois University, the arena. So loud. My ears rang for 3 days. It was great, though. It was great. It's phenomenal. But it was part of the excitement for us was like Eddie is obviously a world class, like one of the greatest guitarists in history. But Sammy's not a bad guitar player. He was a pretty good guitar player. So it's kind of fun that they did some back and forth on that tour on the stage, where they would play, trade some licks and stuff. It was fun. Made it fun. I mean, and then even Sammy would they'd go back and forth until Eddie would play something that was so complicated that, Sammy just kind of bowed to him. But Eddie couldn't sing like Sammy. That's the thing. Nephilim says, speaking of the Beatles, Anthology 4 is out now. Do we really need it? I didn't see what's on it yet. I have gotten a number of notices, especially from the Beatles.com, because they know that I'm a sucker and I'll buy anything, except I can't buy this because I'm broke. Why wouldn't they include the Now and Then song on it, though? Right? I mean, because the first one had Real Love, or first one had Free as a Bird. Anthology 2 had Real Love. Anthology 3 was supposed to have Now and Then, but they never produced it because it sounded like ass. And then they released it last year, and they probably shouldn't have released it because it didn't sound very good. It was not a very good song. It was a nice song, but it needed a bridge. I don't understand, like, McCartney, of all people, like one of the great composers of our time, doesn't listen to that song and go, oh, this is lovely. We just need to put a bridge in the middle of it to make it sound good. Make it sound like a Beatles song. They did straight A-B. They first verse, second verse, back to the first verse, done. So stupid. No Beatles song in history has ever done that. Except maybe like Love Me Do. It was a bad idea. They really messed that song up. I was hostile towards it when I heard it. I'm like, I didn't even mind like they did some stuff like AI stuff with Lennon or whatever. Fine. It was kind of cool experiment. It's worth doing, but at least produce a good song. Produce a Beatles worthy song. You did not. It needed a bridge. It needed a bridge in the worst way, or a B part of the song. Something. It needed something on. Needed something to back it up. It needed something to fill in. And the same thing goes with that Billy Joel song, Turn the Lights Back On. It's a great song. Like, that was a great song. It was a well-written song. Has a great hook in it. But he wrote it with some new kid who doesn't think to put a bridge in the song. I'm like, put a freaking bridge in the song. If you do one section that's just a little bit different to give the song some flavor, and stop with this modern era bullshit. I said bullshit. Bullshit of like first verse, chorus, repeat the first verse, chorus, dead. That's it. That's the song. Like, stop it. Give us something. Use your creativity and write something worthwhile. Soapbox. Rant off. Alan Parsons produced some of the Pink Floyd stuff too. Yeah, he was involved with them particularly in the earlier stuff. The earlier, the Adam Hart Mother, duh. He was involved with some of that, and he may have even been around for some of the Dark Side of the Moon stuff. Did Parsons have anything to do with that? Let's see, Alan Parsons, Dark Side of the Moon. Did he produce anything with that? Engineer owns press recruitment of Claire Torrey. Yeah, he recruited Claire Torrey for the Great Gig in the Sky. He was one of the producers on it. So that's good. Yeah, okay. I got that right. Yeah. You guys remember Claire Torrey? That story? That's a great story. She's a vocalist, classically trained vocalist. 1972, I think it was. She was at home, gets a call around midnight, and saying there's a band that wants you to come in and sing for them on their song. She, middle of the night, goes into Abbey Road, and the band's there, and they're like, do you have any, what am I singing on? They're like, well, we have this song with the song chord progression, and well, what do you want me to do? They go, I don't know. Do you have any lyrics for this? No, I don't think not lyrics, but we want some emotion on it. Can you go and do something on this? So she goes in and she does this wailing thing. If you listen to the song Great Gig in the Sky, and it's like phenomenal. I mean, it's like the most emotional, like on a good system, it's like tears, man. It's just like, it's just so beautiful. And I think they did a second take or some pickups or something. And she said, okay, well, do you want to do some lyrics now? I'm warmed up. And they're like, no, that was good. That was perfect. We'll take it. And she went home. And the next thing you know, this album comes out and it's the hugest thing ever. And she fought for a number of years. She was just flattered. And then she got kind of like, I should have been compensated for that, because they didn't tell me what to do. I came up with it. So in essence, I produced the song myself. Now, I didn't produce the chords of it, but everything I did in that song was came from me, and it was my production. I produced it. So she eventually won some money from that, but phenomenal voice. I mean, you'll never, once you hear her, it's like, right through to your soul. So good. Chickenfoot. Yeah, we did that. Satriani on guitar, Michael Anthony on bass, Chad Smith on drums. Oh, Joe was on that. I didn't know Joe Satriani was a part of that. Joe did that album Surfing with the Alien. That became like the staple of every sports broadcast in the United States in the 1990s. Like anytime they would cut to like football highlights, it would be like it was like right, they always use that. But there were some great songs on that record, and it's all instrumental. It's one of the great guitar instrumental albums in an era that really didn't do instrumental guitar albums. Joe Satriani, "Surfing with the Alien" is the name of the album, the album, for those of you who aren't familiar. But thanks for pointing out that lineup. I knew Michael Anthony's been playing with them for a long time. Michael, of course, got screwed by Van Halen back in like 1984. Eddie had grown increasingly angry with Michael. And Michael, to his credit, he could play bass, but he wasn't the greatest bass player in history. I don't think anybody will ever, try and misrepresent and say Michael Anthony was some like bass god, John Paul Jones, John Entwistle kind of bassist, but he was solid. He did the job, and Eddie started having sore feelings towards Michael by the mid '80s, and he felt like Michael wasn't contributing. He wasn't writing any music. He wasn't offering up suggestions in the studio. And so Eddie was getting increasingly pissed at him, as Eddie himself was getting increasingly pissed in his life, just drinking too much. And he became resentful. And the band, David Lee Roth and Eddie and Alex, went to Michael and made him give up his royalties on future albums. So Michael lost out on a lot of money in the post Van Halen era with Sammy Hagar. He was treated like an employee, not like part of the band. And he kept quiet for many, many years. And he got hurt when in the mid 2000 teens, like it's like 2014 or something. Eddie did an interview. I don't know where Eddie's head was at in his later life, but he did this interview that said Michael Anthony never learned a single part. He had to teach him note by note how to play the bass. He was never a good bass player, and blah, blah, blah. Kind of tore into him a little bit, and I thought that was not fun. That wasn't fun. But then, yeah, at JTB, you're right. He did boot Michael kind of left. I think the writing was on the wall. They just kept slamming him and making his life more and more miserable. And he finally, I think, just said, "I'm going to go be," because then they let go of Sammy in the same way. They just booted Sammy out of the group for no reason, no good reason. They just got, whatever it was. Eddie got tired of having somebody who was positive and nice and cared about the business and the band and making good music. And he hired that kid, and they did the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge album that was so frickin' terrible. Was it that one? No, it was the next one. It was two down the road that they kicked him out of. What was the name of that frickin' kid? Van Halen, young singer. The hell's the name of the kid? Mitch Malloy. 1996. It's just terrible. I could say he was a young kid, but he was younger. He was still not young at the time. But that was like just god awful. So, but he was, talking Van Halen, talking about old songs today, really enjoy the demo, says Brody. You're talking about the Beatles demos. They're fun. I as somebody who grew up in an era when you couldn't get that stuff, there were many bootlegs available, and I have a ton. I have like a whole case of cassettes of bootleg Beatles shit from the day. Dubs from those masters that they eventually released now as what became the anthology records. So we've heard, most of us who are old enough have heard all that before, because it was lore. They recorded everything. So there were like, and I think I have a tape that has nothing but like 45, 50 takes of Strawberry Fields on it, including the two that they wound up splicing together at one point to make the one. I just ruined that song. If anybody doesn't know, at 1:03 there's a splice in Strawberry Fields between the words "Let me take you down 'cause I'm cut going to." On the word "going," it's a totally different take, and they sped up the beginning of a slower take, and they slowed down the back end of that take and married the two together. That was a Jeff Emmerich, George Martin masterpiece that they did in the studio, because Lennon liked the first take, one of the earlier takes of the first part of the song, and one of the later takes of the end of the song that had the crazy drums. They were two entirely different songs that they spliced together in the studio. And if you hear that edit, you'll never hear that song the same way again. It's like once you hear it, it's like you'll forever go, "Oh, I can't. It's not the song. I can't hear the song anymore. I just hear the edit." You're welcome, America. Has anyone seen the bridge? Where's that confounded bridge? Oh, JTB dropping in the grunge lyric from Led Zeppelin off of Houses of the Holy. That was their tribute to James Brown. It's a 5/4 time if you listen to it. It's very cool. He produced Dark Side, yeah. Alan Parsons did a quad mix of Dark Side for the Immersion box set. I don't have a quad player. Somebody needs to come out with quad driver headphones. Okay, speaking of great and well-produced music, I'm pissed that Rush isn't releasing a 40th anniversary of Power Windows. Phenomenal album. Damn, 1985 classic. Well, to me, Moving Pictures is their best sounding record. And I liked Hemispheres, and I did like Power Windows. I thought that was great. But their best sounding record, I thought, was Moving Pictures. I think the mastering and the recording of that is phenomenal. And then they got a great mastering job by the one and only Rob Ludwig, who did Back in Black by AC/DC also. which will figure prominently in the next episode. Going to hear some AC/DC. Well, I don't know if you'll hear it, but I'm going to use some AC/DC as a demo track in the next episode. And it's a you guys are going to love this next episode, man. Guys, I'm telling you. I'm so excited for you guys to see this next one. And I'm 2/3 of the way through it. I just got to figure out how to set something on fire visually without actually setting something on fire. I have some solutions, but I'm like, I really want it to work the way I want it to work, but it hasn't yet. Anyway. And I have, for Rush, they came out with remastered digital versions, and they released them as sectors. So if you have Sector 1, you'll get Fly By Night and 2112. And then if you have Sector 2, you'll get the era with Moving Pictures and Permanent Waves and a couple other records. And then Sector 3 is like their later stuff. So when you go to, if you want the best version of Rush records, you have to buy the Sector series. Sector 1, Sector 2, or Sector 3. Stupid. But then they don't list the album covers either. It's so ridiculous. Did I just end the stream or something? I did something funny. I hit the board. Oh, never mind. Oh my gosh. I was listening to Lou Reed. I found a Lou Reed concert on YouTube, and I just hit that tab and it started playing it. Lou Reed from like 1985. Like the first song in the song is Sweet Jane. I'm like, oh, how do you not love Lou Reed? Speaking of live music, man, dude could play live. So good. So speaking of great produced music, Power Windows. I have not heard Power Windows in a long time. You should go listen to that. I'll put that on my listening, on my must listen stuff. I think Eddie booted Michael Anthony so that Eddie could get his son Wolfie in the band. I think he booted Michael Anthony because they weren't getting along anymore. And he'd rather pay Wolfie the money than pay Michael the money, who he saw as a somebody hanging on. But Michael was always just a nice guy. That was the hard part of it. Michael was a nice guy, it still is. Nice, good guy. His Eddie's son Wolfie can play, though, as we found out. If you guys don't know, Wolfie plays almost as well as Eddie played. He can play Eruption to the note with the same feel as his dad. It's phenomenal. Like, he can really do it. It's amazing. Eddie taught him a lot, clearly. Spent some time with his dad. So that's cool. Ryan Dietz heading out. Cheers, my brother. He's probably long gone by now. Gary Cherone from the band Extreme sang on one Van Halen album also. Oh, okay. Is he the guy I was thinking of? I thought it was Mitch Malloy. He was the first one that came in, though, right? Mitch. And it was a disastrous record. I mean, it was so bad. It was unlistenable. What were they thinking kind of thing? Like, you can't let go of somebody like Sammy, who was, they misunderstood how good Sammy was. And they booted him. And then they wound up, playing with David Lee Roth, and we were going to go back to him, and then he could, and David had lost his voice, I think, sometime in those late 90s. It started going. The reunion efforts were short-lived always. But he had David Lee had the swagger. He was one of the best frontmen of that era. Frontmen. He could just, he was the showman. There were guys who could do it. He had the showman thing like Steven Tyler. Great frontman showman. Just could dominate and take over a stage. He had presence, just great stage presence in a band setting. They're a great singer, great individual guy, like Bowie. Bowie was, Bowie could command a stage. Certainly in that era, too, you can't forget Queen and Freddie Mercury. I mean, he was the greatest frontman probably in music history. I don't think there's a better lead singer than Freddie Mercury. So good. Talk music today. We normally don't talk music. We're usually talking like, I don't know, Buddy Belly Button Lint or something. A lot of music talk today. So fun. Hope you all are enjoying the afternoon live stream. I got to go pick up Miss Director soon, so we're going to get this thing, we're going to start wrapping this thing up soon. You as well, Ryan. That's awesome. You know I'm going to, after this, check out the stuff, yeah. It's good stuff. I mean, these are all great things. Rush Exit Stage Left is a good live album. I don't remember that as having great fidelity. I mean, I'm sure the performance was probably good. Rush never did bad music. I'm trying to think of like if I would put that up. I guess I would. Didn't they release a version of Closer to the Heart off that record? Supertramp had Paris. That was a reasonable album. I don't remember if it was particularly good sounding. Fleetwood Mac had a live album, but it was not great. It wasn't a great recording. 2112, yeah, that's my favorite Rush album too. Although I'm such a sucker for moving pictures. Spirit of the Radio is might be my favorite song of theirs. It's just a great single. It's a very I love Limelight too. For Limelight and Spirit of the Radio are probably their two best singles, but 2112 is like one of the best concept albums ever. Neil Peart, their drummer, did all the lyrics. Did you guys know that? Geddy wrote a lot of the music with Alex, and Neil did all the lyrics. It was his concept, the whole 2112 thing, about the government has taken over and taken away music and put everything, kind of locked everything up and taken away rock music. They felt that music was poisoning the kids, and maybe it was back then. and so it's been forgotten. And then this guy goes off and finds a guitar and starts playing with it, and then takes it to the elders who banned the music in the first place, and they considered music to be a waste of time. And the protagonist in this decided that the music was too beautiful to be banned, and he wanted to go against authority, and it all ends very badly for him. Does not go well. But yeah, that was the story behind 2112. But it was all written by Neil Peart. It was Neil Peart's idea. He was the concept guy. Pretty cool. The jumpsuits that they are wearing on the back cover of 2112 are tragic. I mean, it's really, on a list of bad decisions, that was Carpenter level bad decisions. Like blue polyester suit Carpenter, the Carpenter's era bad decision. They look like elders from, I don't know, Buck Rogers in the 21st century. I mean, it's bad. Tom Sawyer is a classic song too. Yeah, of course, classic. And I love, and that was really core to me because I was in grade school at the time. I was just starting high school. I think it was 81, 84, 81 to 85. Was that me? Yeah. So 81. So I was just starting high school. Like that was just core music. All that stuff we were into so heavily. Loved Rush. Paris by Supertramp is a pretty good sounding. Nice choice actually, 1977. Yeah, that was it 77 or was it later? Because it wasn't, I thought, didn't Paris, hang on a second. I gotta look that up, because I thought Paris had some of the Breakfast in America stuff on it. So yeah, it was 79. Released in 1980, recorded in 79, because it had Breakfast in America stuff on it. But yeah, there was I thought it was pretty good. And they've done some fidelity versions of it. I don't remember it standing out to me, but it is something that I've listened to from time to time. So it's I probably should pay attention to it more and not put it on. But the Beach Boys live, what? I thought Kokomo. Yeah, their kimono robes there was cringe. Yeah, but you know, they were trying to make it. You know what I mean? And they were so hungry back then. And God, you listen to Fly By Night and what they were doing back then. They eventually like really did make it huge. They were mega by the time Moving Pictures came out. Spirit of the Radio was a big commercial success for them. 2112 was a great art rock album, though. It was such a great prog rock record. Good stuff. Good stuff. Nephilim has the 24-karat gold mobile fidelity CD of Moving Pictures and the DVD audio. Stupid good sounding. Stupid. Yeah. It's definitely one of the best albums recorded in the 80s. And, oh yeah, as long as you're talking 80s, this is a controversial pick. Anytime I bring this up, it gets I get controversy from it. But London Calling from The Clash, which is in America, it's one of the great albums of the 1980s, but everybody else attributes it to 1979 because the album was released overseas in December of 1979. In America, it was released in January of 1980, so it's technically in America, it's a 1980s record, and it's one of the best 1980s records out there. It's funny because my two favorite albums from the 80s are Remain in Light and London Calling. Easily, my two favorite, probably like by far my two favorite records, and they were released in 1980. Like, way to just blow all your good shit in the first year. Set us up, because those years when we got into the late 80s, I mean, even the great musicians who were in different bands at that point, I'm thinking of like The Firm, Jimmy Page, like go back and listen to those Firm records, and although he can play well, the music production of those people should be shot over the production value of the late 1980s. Everything got compressed, and I was listening to AC/DC Thunderstruck, because AC/DC is a great band to listen to if you're going on a walk. So I put on my AC/DC mix on Tidal, and it starts with Thunderstruck, although I think it should start with Back in Black, personally, or Highway to Hell. It does include Bon Scott era stuff, though, which is great because I love the Bon Scott era. But I was watching, so I was listening to that, and they start with Thunderstruck, and I'm like, somebody needs to go back and pull all the compression off the drums, because they did the Phil Collins drum effect that everybody wound up using. Start with Hell's Bells. Thank you. That's the first album on Back in Black. First song on side one of Back in Black. But although everybody thinks that Back in Black starts with Back in Black for some reason. Isn't that weird? Just one of those things. It's like the Mandela effect. What do you mean Back in Black doesn't start with Back in Black? No, it starts with Hell's Bells. What? But that compression, Phil Collins he did the song In the Air Tonight, right? And it comes to the big stranger to you and me, ba-da, 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 ba-dum, bum. Everybody was obsessed with that sound. And what it is it's a gated compressor. It's a compression. He ran the drum signal through a gate with a compressor. And it created that whoop. It hits and then it dissipates. The sound dissipates. Everybody started using the Phil Collins effect after that song. even Phil Collins put it on everything. And it became a sound, a signature sound of that era. And it's tragic. Somebody needs to go through, redo songs like Thunderstruck, and pull that compressed drum sound off of everything and get to remaster them with a regular drum sound so they lose their era attachment. And I think, and even like the Rolling Stones, if you listen to Charlie Watts drums on Dirty Work, Winning Ugly, any of that stuff, like just, oh my God, just strip the drum, just get rid of that shit. Go back to just make the drums sound like Charlie Watts drums, because Charlie Watts is a phenomenal drummer. And you've masked his beautiful drum sound with a shit ton of this compressed gate. Compressor gate. Compressor gate. 1986. It's a scandal that ruled the nation, that rocked a nation. Didn't rock a nation. So good. So fun. Yes, 79 for there's a lot of that though. There's a lot of albums that, like, well, you want to call this a 1980s record or do you want to call it a 79 record? You know, The Wall was 79, Pink Floyd The Wall. I don't think that album has aged well. I've gone back and listened to it a number of times and it's phenomenal. But and it's arguably, you know, it's a double record. There is so much production on it. It is masterfully assembled. But you go back and listen to The Wall now, and I don't think it holds up as well as like Dark Side. That's pretty spicy. I don't think the music, like, it's got its tracks, you know, Comfortably Numb, and it's got, you know, a lot of that stuff, but I don't know that it holds up as well. I don't think it stands on its own as well as some of the other stuff. That's my opinion. Anyway. But I do like, I mean, I do love The Wall. I've listened, like I said, every now and then I'll go back and listen to it like once a year, maybe once every 2 years. I'll just really sit down and like listen to it, especially if I've got a good pair of headphones here to listen to it on. I'll go back and listen to The Wall. But I don't think it holds up. I would much prefer listening to Animals over The Wall. I'd much prefer listening to Wish You Were Here, or because The Wall is, there's part of The Wall, it's just depressing. It's a depressing record. You know, it's about excess and, you know, misery, and, you know, this guy going nuts in a hotel room because he can't deal with society anymore, and he feels. So anyway, but I don't think it holds up as well. What does hold up well is early AC/DC. Let's see. Michael, The Wall is real good, thematic mood piece. I revisit it once in a while. I agree with you. And I do too. I just think, like, Animals is, to me, a better album. Like, I actually like the music on that. It is dark too, I guess, in the same way that The Wall is, because it's a real commentary on society. You know, who are pigs? Who are dogs? Who are the different, who are the sheep? The rest of us are sheep. I mean, it's a great concept. Spoiled by the intro and the outro song that make no sense on the record. With the pigs on the wing. And the story behind that goes, Waters didn't have the same deal that Lennon and McCartney had. Lennon and McCartney agreed that anything either of them wrote with the Beatles would get full credits. Other bands made deals that the band itself would get credit for any song produced by the band, regardless of who wrote it. And it kept an equity going. Waters only had one song on Animals. And so to even that out, he put those bookended Pigs on the Wing songs at the front and back of the album, and it gave him more royalties, more of a percentage of the royalties. Even though time-wise he had 27 seconds of song that was fairly simple. And it was pointless to the record. Didn't make any sense. Didn't make any commentary or help the record at all. They could have started the record with Dogs and ended it with Sheep, and it would have been, the same record. So anyway. Greedy musicians. Next at Director's Garage. AC/DC still have an original CD of that album. Yeah, it's great. I have an original pressing of Back in Black with Robert Ludwig, his initials on the runout. Yeah, phenomenal record. Shoot to Thrill, incredible stereo panning. That whole record is fantastic. But they came to fame. What helped them along was Mutt Lange. Mutt Lange took them as an Aussie act and kind of shaped them. And the amazing thing, they had Bon Scott, and Highway to Hell was an incredible record. So was Dirty Deeds. Both were really good records. Dry sounding compared to what came after once they got I'm drawing a blank on this. Brian into the group. I had a point to make. They had a very dry sound back then, but Mutt Lange was the one who really took them and shaped them. The great producer, Mutt Lange, and it's amazing to me. The amazing thing about that band was Bon Scott died in February, I think, and by the end of March they had Brian in place as a lead singer, and they recorded that album in late June, and by the end of summer they had one of the greatest rock albums in history, certainly one of the greatest selling rock albums in history, come out of the most unbelievable turmoil of losing the lead singer of your band, the great lead singer of your band, the guy who everybody knew. And they put this new singer in out of the blue. And in 3 months, first of all, it speaks to Angus's phenomenal guitar playing, right? Because he wrote that record and it was ready. And I can't imagine what that would have sounded like had they gone in with Bon Scott, But man, it just confound, when you think about what they went through, that their buddy, and they, there was AC/DC had been around a long time, like since 73. And then in 1980, they lose, so for 7 years, like the span of the Beatles' popularity, they were together, this band out of Australia, and the lead singer just dies, and they replaced him in a month, and they released one of the greatest albums of all time. It's unbelievable how that could happen. And I got to think that the producer of the record, Mutt Lange, probably had a lot to do with it. He kept keeping them focused and getting in. So amazing. But just to think about what they went through. Favorite ACD song is actually Who Made Who. Yes, phenomenal. And great lick. I mean, that was the great lick before Thunderstruck. I mean, such a great... the difference the difference, I think, you know, the difference between a guy like or a band like AC/DC and some of the other bands of the era is Angus paid attention to the lick and the melody and writing a great hook, like writing a great chorus. I'm back in black. You know, like you listen to all that, Shoot to Thrill. These are great, like singable choruses. We don't get enough of that. And we lost that certainly in the grunge era. Like they just destroyed, you know, blew it up. They blew up the whole song structure thing. So very interesting. Different world. Sorry, late to the chat, says Neil Snyder. Cheers, Neil. Welcome. We're about to end. I got to go pick up Miss Director. I'm registering my music collections. Just finished listening to his entire Jim Nabors collection. Now, he had a voice. I'm telling you, Jim Nabors had a voice. Don't make fun of Jim Nabors. You better be serious. Listen to Back Home Again. He sang the best version of Back Home Again in Indiana of anybody at the Indy 500 every year for a long time. Sadly, he's no longer with us. Brody's from Australia, but he couldn't get into them. He did try. It's hard rock. I just think it was like my era. It was what came after Zeppelin. You know, within. You have to look at the time of it. Pink Floyd. We all knew Pink Floyd was breaking up. We all knew The Wall was pretty much it for them. They did come back and do the final cut, but it was a dismal record. Very poignant, dismal record. Awful. The Zeppelin had lost, it had broken up because they lost John Bonham. It was 1980. They were actually touring, planning to tour the U.S., doing the test record, you know, all that. Gone. You know, he's dead. And then we had lost Keith Moon shortly before that, and The Who was never the same again. So you had the super groups of the 70s all collapsing. And AC/DC was emerging. You know, they were getting better and better and better. And so it was a time for that. And Aerosmith had broken up. Aerosmith dismantled. So, you know, like you look at that, there was a gap there. Boston came out. Boston was probably one of the bands that sort of carried rock through that era. You also have to remember that disco was dominant. Disco dominated everything in the late 70s. So by 1980, it was like the reason that bands like Blondie, who did a disco song but was not a disco band, they were a new wave band, Talking Heads, Clash, who were punk, even earlier, you had Sex Pistols. The reason punk came along was out of response for like this disco dance stuff that nobody could stand, that nobody who were rock fans could stand. And then we lost all of our good bands. All of our great bands broke up. So punk and new wave became sort of like the place to go for music. You know, it became different. Anyway, enough on that. Gomer Pyle's greatest hits. Shazam! His best song. Shazam! Too much. Re-listening. Try again. Lol. Should be JTB. Gomer Pyle's greatest hits. Michael's reliever. Neil. Hope all is well. Yes. So Neil can pick up from here. Guys, I'm going to call it for the day. We've talked a lot of music today. Look for a new episode from me next week. I will try and get it done by Wednesday. I can't promise anything, but I will try to get it done by Wednesday. Neil, you can't drop something on me like you're selling your Macbeth. Why would you sell your Macbeth? It's a great headphone. Have a great weekend. Selling one of my best product, one of the best things I own. Why are you selling this thing? It's like one of the best IEMs on the planet. All right. Judas Priest saved metal. Slowly got it creeping back in. I know. There were a lot of factors. That's for next week, class. Class dismissed. Let me play the goodbye music. Jesus. I hope you like the intro music this week, because I really go listen to the top of the show if you hadn't, because I came up with a new intro music this week. It was a lot of fun. It was about how I couldn't be here on Wednesday, so I'm here today. With no apologies. All right, everybody. Cheers. Have a great weekend. And I will see you guys before you know it. Enjoy next week. We got a new episode coming. And the Patreon folks knows what's up, kind of. And the rest of you will find out. And it's going to be great. All right. Cheers, everyone. Got to go.